channel. For today's video, I am sharing with you my ultimate guide to planning a Disney World vacation. I have been planning this video for months, literally about 6 months now, almost 7 months. We went to Disney World back in February of this year, and I just discovered all kinds of things that people may not know if it's their first time, because for us it was our first time as adults planning a trip, not having our parents planning a trip when we were kids. And so I thought it would be really cool to put together this video. So I spent a lot of time thinking how exactly I wanted to do this video. So the way that this video is going to go is I am going to break it down by before you book your vacation, as you're booking your vacation, after you book your vacation, once you get there. I'll kind of just go in order. And I'm just going to be giving like tips and tricks for along the way. My very first tip when you are thinking about planning a Disney vacation, and the very first thing that we did was we checked crowd calendars. So if you're flexible and you can go whatever, it's a really good idea to check the crowd calendars. I looked them up on Pinterest, but you could Google them, and they will give you color-coded charts of typically how the crowds are at every time of the year. Obviously, it could be different, it could change, but it does just give you kind of a general idea of the average crowds at those times of year. The really great thing about booking a Disney vacation directly through Disney World is that all you have to do is put down an initial deposit, and then you have until 1 month before your arrival date to pay off your vacation. For us, this was the way to go. Some people may be able to just pay it all up front, but for us, this is how we were able to justify going on a vacation. Anyone we told had no idea you could do that. So the day we booked about 8 months before our trip. All we had to do the first day was pay a $200 deposit, and then after that, we had about $200 a month to pay until we went. So we had until about January to pay our trip off. And I think this is a really great way for people to be able to budget easier for a Disney trip. And I think this is one of like my top tips that I tell everybody. Once you have your dates figured out and you're ready to book your vacation, look into the resorts. So Pinterest is a really great tool for this. There are so many posts on there, blog posts, photos, everything, really reviewing all of the resorts. Any resort I've ever looked into, I've been able to find multiple posts about on Pinterest, and this really helps give me an idea of what I want and what we're looking for. There are a very wide variety of resorts at Disney World, from the value resorts all the way up through the deluxe resorts. If you're doing it on a budget, I really do think that the all-star resorts are perfectly fine. If you're like us, you're gonna be in your resort mostly just to sleep. If you're more of the outdoorsy type, or if you really want to do this on a budget, you could also stay at the campsites at Disney's Fort Wilderness Lodge. They have RV hookups. They have areas for you to set up your own tent, and then they also have cabins as well. Obviously, the bring your own tent is going to be the cheapest option, but if you're fine with that, that is a great way to do it and a way to save so much money. Like I said, I really do think that this is a very important step in your planning of your Disney vacation, because you want to make sure that the resort that you're going to choose has everything you and your family need. And you of course can just look at the Disney website itself as you're booking for details about all the different resorts, but I have found that going the Pinterest route and just looking at more detailed reviews and more photos of different areas of the resorts can be a really great asset as well. Once you have your resort figured out and it's in your shopping cart, the next thing that you are going to do is select your park tickets. You have the option of no tickets. For example, if you have a way to get them discounted and you just want to purchase your resort, that is an option. You can also choose anywhere from a 2-day ticket up to a 10-day ticket, depending on how many days you're going and all of that. And then you also will see 3 different options for your tickets. What I mean by that is there is the base ticket, there's the Park Hopper ticket, and then there is the Park Hopper Plus. For us, the base ticket just made the most sense when we went. That means you just get into 1 park per day, but you can come and go from that park as you please. So we thought we might need to, you know, go do nap time at the resort, which we actually didn't need to do, but it was nice to have that option that if we were at Epcot and we needed to leave for a couple hours, we could come back to Epcot in the same day. The park hopper option is a really great option as well. If you think maybe you aren't going to spend as much time at one park as another, this will enable you to go to more than one park per day. So it's really nice if you have that flexibility, or if you're only going to be there for a short time and still want to get in all the parks. It's a great way to do that. The park hopper is an extra fee. It does take your price up a little bit, but ultimately, if that's worth it to you, it's a great way to go. Then the Park Hopper Plus is just like the Park Hopper, but it also includes the water parks and the miniature golf courses, as well as the ESPN wide, that's a tongue twister, the Wide World of Sports. So you can go to any of those places if you get the Park Hopper Plus option. You can go to any of those places in the same day. After you have your park ticket selected, the next thing that you will be able to do is add a variety of other things to your vacation package, such as the Memory Maker. This is amazing, and I highly recommend this. It is a little bit pricey. It's about $170, but anywhere throughout the park where they take your picture, which they're everywhere, they scan your Magic Band and it goes into your Disney account, and then you're able to download those once you get home. You do only have 30 days from the end of your trip to download them onto your computer, or they go away. But we really got our money's worth out of this. We would have never gotten the same amount of amazing photos just on our phones. A lot of the different areas will ask you if you want to do some photos where they add some magic. So for example, we have a picture where my daughter looks like Tinkerbell, or we have a picture where it looks like Mickey Mouse is sitting next to us. We have one where it looks like Pascal is on her head. So they really add all those special touches, and I've never heard of anyone saying that they didn't think that the Memory Maker was worth the extra expense. The next option you have to add to your package, I personally don't have experience with because we did not do this, but they do offer dining plans. I know that there's a couple different options available. Like I said, I don't know the specifics. I'm not going to try and pretend that I do, but that is an option for you that you can look into if you're interested. What's really cool is directly through the Disney World website, as you're booking your vacation, you can actually also add your flight if you're going to be flying, as well as ground transportation. So you can either add a rental car through Alamo, or you can arrange to make sure that you get the complimentary shuttle service from the Orlando airport to your resort. The complimentary shuttle is a bus called Disney's Magical Express, and it will take you and your luggage to your resort, and then it will also take you back to the airport on the day of your departure. Once your vacation is all booked, the next thing you're going to want to do is start researching what restaurants you're going to want to go to, character meals, and also what you're going to want a fast pass for. So the first thing you're going to want to do is the restaurants, because you can make your dining reservations 60 days or less before your vacation. So for me, as soon as it hit that 60-day mark and I was able, I jumped on it because I wanted to be sure I got all the places we'd been talking about for months that we'd heard such great things about. It's really hard to get into a restaurant at Disney World if you don't have a reservation, especially the character meals. We knew 110% we wanted to do Chef Mickey's character breakfast at the Contemporary Resort. I remember doing it as a kid, and I just knew the girls would love it. That is one that's very hard to get into. Again, just do your research, look into them all, see what they offer. If you go on Disney's website to look up all of the dining locations, they will show you menus and price ranges, so you can really see, especially if you're doing it on a budget, you can really see what's going to fit into your budget and what's not to help you plan. 30 days out from your trip, you are going to be able to select your fast passes. Fast passes are wonderful. Do not take them for granted. There are some stipulations and some regulations as far as they go that I will get into, but I just want to say we definitely knew 100% at Epcot that we had to do the Frozen Ever After ride, and we did have a fast pass. When we walked up, it said the standby wait time was 75 minutes. With our fast pass though, we only waited about 15. It was awesome. The first thing you should know about fast passes is that you can select ahead of time up to 3 for each day. That doesn't mean you only get access to 3 fast passes per day. That just is the amount you're allowed to book in advance. There's still fast passes available throughout the day. Obviously they book up, you know, pretty quickly in the day. If you try and wait till 5 o'clock at night, you're probably gonna be pretty limited on what you can find. But once you've redeemed your 3 fast passes for that day, then you're able to book more, and you can do it through the app. And the app is something I will talk about, so be sure to stay tuned. Besides the app, they will also have kiosks throughout the park that you can do a fast pass that way. But for us, it made more sense because everything was linked through our Magic Bands, so it made more sense to just do it on our phone instead of waiting in a line at one of the kiosks. And the fast passes are not just for rides, they are also for the character meet and greets, all of like the major ones. There's also fast passes for special viewing areas for parades and fireworks, which I initially did not know on our trip, but now I do know, and I will definitely be looking into that next time, but that's a really great option to keep in mind as well. Honestly, the best part about the Fast Pass is that it's free. So we're from Ohio, and if you go to Cedar Point and you want Fast Pass access for any of the rides, it's an extra ticket and it's really, really expensive. So I kind of had that same idea in my head going into planning, and I was like, well, I don't know how many Fast Passes we're gonna be able to do. And then I found out they were free, and it was a really great surprise, and I thought it was awesome. So keep that in mind. Fast passes are free at Disney World. One major thing to keep in mind when you're selecting your fast passes is they do have the rides for each park broken down into 2 tiers. So there's tier 1, which is considered the most popular rides, and then there's tier 2, which is everything else. So you're only allowed 1 tier 1 in your first set of 3 each day. But keep in mind, if there's something that you want to do that's tier 1, but you already have a fast pass for a different tier 1, just once you get to the park and once you've redeemed those initial fast passes, just immediately get on your phone or go to a kiosk and see if you can get a fast pass for later in the day for that tier 1 ride that you're still wanting to go on. Or there's obviously the standby lines. My final tip as far as fast passes go is, as you're selecting them, just be sure that you are looking into the age and height restrictions for the rides. Just make sure obviously that you're selecting things that your little ones can go on with you, especially if you have like a really little one. There are still rides they'll be able to go on, because that was something we had to take into account traveling with a 1-year-old, but there was still plenty of options in the slower rides and things like that that we were all able to go on. Once the time has come for you to leave for your Disney vacation, the number one thing I recommend you doing and remembering is to keep your Magic Bands with you. So the Magic Band is the awesome bracelet that you get now that serves as your park ticket, your resort key, everything you could possibly need, and you really want to make sure you have those with you. You don't want to have them shoved in a suitcase somewhere, so then you're having to dig through everything when you arrive. If you're flying, you could just keep them in your carry-on, or you could wear them. For us, we drove, so I just kept them handy in my purse so that once we finally got there, we had them with us and could just put them on right away. The Magic Bands are awesome because they are customizable. When you are booking your vacation, you, in your account, will have the option to select all the colors for everyone in your party, or there are ones with characters that you can purchase separately. But if you just do the basic colored ones, those are included in your vacation package. They will come with your, I believe it's your reservation number on them, and they'll have your name. When they come in the mail, it's so exciting because you know you're getting close. They come about a month, maybe a little less, before you leave for your trip. So then you're like, all right, this is real, this is happening. Be sure that you go through everything that comes in the box. It included some really awesome coupons and then another magic card that would give us discounts up to, I believe, 15% off select merchandise locations and dining locations. So make sure you look for that. The Magic Bands are also awesome because that is how you get into your resort area. So when, at least for the All-Star resorts, there were 2 separate lines when you pulled up. There was the one line where there was like a guard. I don't know exactly like what that line was for, but the line that we went through every time had a gate that goes up and down, and you just scanned your Magic Band on like a little thing outside your window, the gate opened, you drove through. Pretty simple. Another great thing about the Magic Bands is that you can pay for everything with them, so you don't even have to pull your wallet out, fumble around with that. This we really utilized. The only thing is you can get a little carried away, like, oh, here's my wrist for everything. The next thing that I want to talk about is the Disney Parks app. This app is so helpful and just perfect when you're on your trip. It will give you everything you need. Here's what the app looks like and then what it looks like when you open it. The first thing that it'll have you do is sign in to your Disney account, and as long as you have your vacation and everything linked, you will find all of that information in there once you're logged in. Here's what it looks like when you open it and click on the park map. This is of Magic Kingdom. You can obviously do any park you want. This will show you all of the wait times. So if you wanted to say, hey, what's this 85-minute wait? Tap on it, it'll tell you what ride it is. Then if you want to see a different one, again, just click on it. It'll tell you what exact ride it is and what the wait is. Some other things you can do is you can check out the park hours and other info about them. And this is where you would click and add fast passes if you wanted to. Then you can also scroll over and order food, call, all these different kinds of things, annual passes, tickets. There's some spotlight areas. Right here is where you're going to find all of your photos from the Photo Pass service. So as you're going through the day, you can click there and they'll all be there. The next thing I'm going to go over is some of my tips and tricks for once you're at Disney and once you're heading to the parks. So I have heard it recommended that you arrive at the parks 20 to 30 minutes before they open. Now, that's fine if you want to get in right away. Just be prepared that the lines do take a little while. They have to check everyone's bags thoroughly, and you have to walk through, you know, the detectors and all of that. So it does take some time, but that's just to be expected. You kind of just got to roll with it. Next thing I will say is you are allowed to bring food and drinks into the park. So this is especially great for those working with a budget. You can bring in snacks and drinks for yourself or your kids or whoever's in your group. So just keep that in mind. We had honestly every intention of doing that, and we did take some snacks for the girls, but I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of tempting when you see all the really cool snacks and drinks and treats throughout the park. But like I said, if you're on a strict budget or a tighter budget, you have that option to bring in food with you. The next thing I recommend is really for if you're traveling with small children like we were. If you're bringing a stroller, you may want to find something that you can mark it with that'll stand out, because while they do have the stroller parking areas, there is a chance sometimes that your stroller may get moved by a cast member. I did see multiple times cast members just not drastically, but rearranging some strollers a little bit just because if people didn't put them in the right spots or if they were trying to make more room. The cast members are the ones that are kind of standing there maneuvering them a little bit. I have seen people get personalized name tags to put on them. I guess there's been instances where people have taken strollers that aren't theirs. So this will help you keep track of your stroller if you need to take it. I have just a few more tips and tricks for your Disney vacation. One being, when you're booking your dining reservations, be sure to look and see if they have the order ahead option. This was awesome for us at Magic Kingdom. We had lunch at the Be Our Guest restaurant and they had that option, and I'm not exaggerating. We hadn't even been there 5 minutes and our food came to our table. So that's a game changer. That is amazing. I don't know how many restaurants offer that. I don't know if there's a lot. I don't know if there's only a few, but definitely look for that because that's huge, especially if you have hungry and cranky little ones. If you're curious about transportation, there are many options available to you once you are at your resort. There are the shuttles, the free buses that run from every resort to all of the parks, as well as the water parks and Disney Springs. Usually you wait at the front of your resort. There's a line for each park or location that you're going to, and then there will be a sign hanging up telling you, the next bus time and things like that so that you know. There's also the monorail. The monorail takes a little bit of research because it does run to a couple parks. There's 4 different resorts that are like on the monorail line. So that's something you definitely want to look into. The monorail is like, even if you just get on it for a joyride, it's almost like it's another ride. The monorail is amazing. Everybody loves it. It's a great option, especially if you choose one of those resorts that's on the monorail line. And fun fact for adults, there is a monorail bar crawl. Definitely look into that. And a relatively new transportation option at Disney World is the Minnie Mouse van service. All you have to do is download the Lyft app and select where you are and where you want to go, and a really cute, specially decorated vehicle will come and pick you up and take you to where you're going, just like a Lyft would. The cool thing about this is that you're not standing there searching for like the license plate or the make of the car or the color. You're gonna know that it's your ride coming because it looks like Minnie Mouse. This, of course, is not free like the monorail and the buses are. You do still have to pay just like you would with Lyft or Uber. So just keep that in mind if you decide to go that route. My next tip, again, if you're traveling with little ones, is be on the lookout for the mom centers. That's what I'm calling them. I don't remember exactly what they were called. But when we were at Epcot, we stumbled upon this it was basically like a bathroom, but it was for moms or dads and the little ones. So there was a breastfeeding area, there's changing tables, there's bathrooms, there was water. They even had things you could buy such as bottles and socks and pacifiers, and it's amazing. I don't know how many there are at each park at this time, but I do know that that was amazing to have so that you're not waiting in a huge line to get to a changing table or to the bathroom. Definitely keep an eye out for those other centers. There was not anyone else in there when I was in it, and it was just awesome. This is really random, but I figured I would let you know. There is a McDonald's on Disney grounds, and it's kind of just thrown in the middle of all of the resorts. It was right near our resort, and we did utilize it one night, but I will say they told us in the drive-thru that especially at dinner time and then about 9 o'clock, they get really, really busy because 9 o'clock is about when some of the fireworks shows are getting out or when those are starting and people are leaving the parks. So they said they get really busy at those two times. So just keep that in mind. If you want to go to that McDonald's, you might hit a really bad line if you're going at one of those times. The great thing about Disney is that you can explore other resorts. For example, we were staying at one of the all-star resorts, but the day we had our reservation for Chef Mickey, we had to go to the Contemporary Resort, which was really cool because that is the resort where the monorail literally drives through the middle of the resort. And we were able to check that out. And I know there's other restaurants at various resorts that you can go to if you choose to. So that's a really cool thing you can do too, so you can see more of the area and more of the resorts. My final tip is try to make time to visit Disney Springs. Disney Springs is what was formerly Downtown Disney, and they've changed the name now. It is so much fun. We had a blast, and we went there a couple times actually. There's just some cool shops to walk into. There's a movie theater, there's restaurants, there's a bowling alley. There's just so much to do there. There's cool entertainment outside, different musicians throughout the area. And that was just one of like our favorite things we did. We went there on our first night there. We went to dinner at Rainforest Cafe, which was awesome. So I highly recommend checking out Disney Springs. Your resort should have a shuttle there, or for us, we just drove there. But it's awesome. I highly recommend you take advantage of that as well. All right, you guys, that is it. That is my guide to planning your Disney World trip. Those are my tips and tricks that I have. Like I said, I am going to be posting more videos with my breakdowns of each park and things that we learned on our trip this year, and just some more tips and tricks to throw in there for you. So be sure to subscribe if you want to see those as well. I really hope you guys liked this video. I hope it could at least help someone out with planning their trip. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them down below for me, and I will do my best to answer them. I am just obsessed with Disney, and I cannot wait till we can go back because honestly, there's so many different options. Your trip can be different every single time, and it's just a fun thing to plan. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!